What's the biggest thing you're learning about leadership right now?
There is a lot of people talk about the implementation of strategies and leadership strategies internally and market strategies, and almost no one knows what they're doing. It's very difficult to find people who really understand all the unintended consequences and the nuances of strategic shifts, because our company's gotten big enough now that we have to run it with strategy, not tactical. The tactical has to be the result of strategy. We cannot just go do stuff. We used to just go do stuff. We didn't think about, what 5-year plan or flywheels or hedgehogs or, we didn't talk about, we didn't have any idea what that stuff was. So those flywheels on a car or hedgehogs on the farm, we didn't know. And Jim Collins started teaching us different then, and Pat Lencioni started teaching us, and we've had several people over the years join our team that were good at strategy, with MBAs and so forth. Most MBAs have good strategic thought. It's taught as a part. It's one of the disciplines you're taught to get an MBA. And I don't have that, so I haven't had to learn that. But I'm also starting to realize that even sometimes supposedly sophisticated, very large companies really have no idea what the crap they're doing. There's some that do, but there's just a handful. And a lot of medium-sized family businesses like ours, or small family businesses, have a better handle on it. It's more primitive in some cases than maybe a big-time Fortune 50 company or something like that. But what it takes for this place to operate a decade from now, when I'm 68 years old, and the thoughts around that kind of stuff is what I'm learning now. And there are people that know, and there's a lot of Jim Collins. I was just reading his new monograph this morning, finished it up on the flywheel that he just sent out. It's really good. And I sent him a note this morning encouraging him. He's so brilliant. And, and Good to Great did that for all of us back in the day. Built to Last did that to all of us back in the day. And Great by Choice did that. I mean, he's just a classic. But the Henry Clouds and the Pat Lencioni's, the people we expose our EntreSummit people to, are the people that I learned from. The stuff that Henry Cloud has done, and Lencioni for that matter, from a strategic standpoint, inside our company, showing us and coming in and giving us decision-making frameworks to put things in place, or there are things I didn't even know existed. I didn't even know that. I didn't know there was such a thing a decade ago.
I will never forget, we were at EntreSummit. It was not this past one, it was the one before it. And I will never forget sitting in the room and listening to the former CEO of Ford talk, Alan Mulally, and looking behind me and seeing you taking notes.
Oh, I take notes on all those guys.
I know that now. I didn't know that at the time. What is the drive to just, you're still reading, you're still learning, you are still incessantly, voraciously learning. What is the drive?
Well, if you don't, you die. It's probably a little bit of desperation. I mean, because things are either growing or they're dying. And that's people and organizations, and I'm the problem with this organization. My leadership team is the problem with this organization. We're also the solution. And if we're not engaged in personal growth, if we're not learning something, if we don't know something tomorrow that we didn't know today, we're not going to be something tomorrow that we weren't today. And I'm certainly a whole lot better husband than I was 37 years ago. I'm a lot better dad than I was with my first child born. They don't come with a manual. I didn't know what the flip I was doing. And I mean, I know a lot about nurturing children now. It's a little late, but I mean, the grandbabies are like, my kids are like, who are you? Where'd you come from? But you should get better at every area of your life. You ought to be better in your spiritual walk and your communication with God. You ought to have a better understanding of Scripture. You ought to have a better understanding of leadership. If you're not, you just quit. I mean, no thanks.
If someone comes to you at one of our events or calls you on the radio and says, I'm leading this team, or I'm responsible for leading people, or I own this business, and I know I'm the lid, and I feel like this thing is passing me, what do you tell that person?
Well, you own it, so it's not going to pass you unless you choose to sell it. It's going to wait on you. That's even scarier.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to like leave you behind. You write the checks, you own it. You know, so, but what your feeling is that you probably have some reading to do and some work to do, and you have some people to come in contact with. And it is the old Charlie Tremendous Jones quote: 5 years from today, you'll be the same person you are today, except for the people you meet and the books you read. And, you know, so somebody's writing something right now that I don't even know that I will be reading when it comes out in the spring, the fall, you know, whatever. I mean, and they may be speaking at an Entree Summit 2 years from now. I don't know who they are. And some of them are early enough in their careers with their ideas and their frameworks that they haven't caught up and they won't be there yet. But that's okay. They'll get there, some of them. And, you know, that's who we're watching and who we're listening. And but there's going to be, you know, there's always some kind of a, you know, the hungry, humble, smart thing of Lencioni's. I mean, we've been doing that stuff. We just didn't have a framework for it.
Yeah.
We didn't have words to put to it. And it's such a simple framework that it applies so beautifully to our hiring process here. And none of us had ever heard those words in that context used that way in a hiring model, 3 years ago?
Oh, yeah. And now it's probably used here every day.
Oh, almost every stinking conversation when it comes up with somebody.
I get tired of it.
Like, are they hungry? What's the problem? Or, you know, I don't want to be too hungry. And, you know, what is it? It's like, you know, it's everywhere. But it gave vernacular to the way we already felt. We were saying vague things like, that person doesn't get it. What we meant was they weren't either hungry, humble, or smart, or they weren't two of those. God help them, you know, and they really weren't going to get it in that case. So, but we just had these vague things like we knew they weren't one of us, but we didn't know how to, and then he gives us that framework. And so that's the kind of stuff that will help someone that's hit the lid is you keep searching, you find stuff and you go, okay, that's why that's not working. Ha, I got it. And you go and you fix it.